For whatever reason, the Barbie movie seems to be all the rage right now. I'm assuming it's due to marketing because I am seeing this thing everywhere. Like, this has got to be the most marketed movie ever. Someone asked me for my take on it, and honestly, I have no plans to see this thing. Let's be real, if I had 2.5 hours to do anything, watching the Barbie movie is just not going to make that list. I'd much rather gather with others and speak about psychology or philosophy or theology or read about neurology. In case you haven't caught on, I'm not a Barbie girl. So while I will not be able to give a full personal analysis of the movie, I will address the speech. You know the one I'm talking about. America Ferrera's character had a monologue that really ripped into the hearts of a lot of people. If you're watching this, I'm sure you've seen it or read it, so I'm not going to waste anyone's time going over the whole thing again. I'll simply analyze some portions and the whole. It apparently took 2 people months to write this thing, which is very unimpressive. I'll probably say far more profound things now, and it takes me like 20 minutes to write these things. It begins with fixation on how women want to be thin, have to be thin. Goes on in the next line to insinuate that being thin isn't healthy. How sisterhoodly. Also, anyone with a brain can read through the lines there. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. It is, in fact, very easy to not be mean. You can, in fact, be a good leader without being a jerk. In fact, you aren't a good leader if you are a jerk. Good leaders are servants. So no, trying to justify bitchy behavior with the whole boss babe thing isn't it. Everything in this monologue, all these gripes, all the pain, exists because of women. Women have done this to one another. Women are the ones who make each other feel like they have to look a certain way, feel like they have to be Pinterest perfect. And ironically, now that the pendulum has swung in the opposite direction, you're hated on by other women if you are thin or you are a good mom. Because now it's vogue to be this super funny stereotype of the mom who hates her kids and drinks before noon. Women caused this. They caused it by how they treat one another. And no one is pointing this out. She goes on to say that women have to answer for men's bad behavior. How? Like, what does that even mean? I see a lot of people, including women, acting terribly. But if any good men call out poor behavior, not even a specific woman's poor behavior, they're immediately attacked as misogynistic because they aren't allowed to have thinking brains or be against double standards. To address another one of her points about women having to stay pretty for men. Women don't stay pretty for men. Women dress up for one another. That's just a fact. Maybe you have exceptions like the Instagram influencer, but that's not a proper example of your average woman or her motivations. I don't even understand what she was trying to say about the system is rigged, but always be grateful while acknowledging that the system is rigged. Once again, hundreds of people looked at this speech and no one thought to point out that sounds really weird and asked what the writers were trying to say. What system? The elite system that they're part of? She goes on to list a bunch of things and say that they're contradictory, but really they aren't. Never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. These are not contradictory. The first few listed are sort of no-brainers. Don't be rude. Don't show off. Generally, don't be a jerk. Then she throws in that people aren't allowed to be weak or fail, which aren't related to the first part of the list and has far more to do with someone's personal insecurity than it does the outside world. Men, on the whole, have failed spectacularly and far more publicly than women. Look at businessmen, military leaders, inventors, scientists, etc. We know a lot of men who have very publicly failed. The sad thing is, this speech could have been so legitimate. It's hard to be a woman, harder now than ever. But it's also harder to be a man now too. This monologue swung and missed because it's trying to blame the wrong scapegoat for real issues. The main issue is that yes, women feel like they have to be it all, have it all, in order to be a functioning person. But who made them feel that way? Other women. Men didn't make women feel this way. So I'm going to redo this monologue. Are you excited? It's impossible to thrive as a woman today. If we embrace our femininity, we're called traitors to our sex. If we yearn for a family, we are told we're throwing our lives away. If we ache for children or after the loss of a child, we're told we're better off without them. After all, we need to care more about the planet than our own selfish wants. You have to answer for why you don't want to climb the career ladder and serve a faceless boss. But if you love your husband, you're just a slave. You can't have it all, even if you want to give some of it up. You want to have a family and stay home? Good luck doing the work of 5 women in order to juggle it all. Because the system is rigged against women. Because if we choose natural law, we have to be lonely because our support system and communities were taken from us. Women no longer help other women. We no longer live in a community. We need to do it all on our own. We have to be everything to everyone because women unlearned how to be there for one another. We have to do it all, be it all, and never receive thanks or acknowledgement. And yes, be grateful for it. And feel like failures when we inevitably fail because the workload is too much for one woman. And no, a lot of women don't have deep friendships because we've learned to be backstabbing towards other women. Women are starved of the closeness of friendship because we're raised to believe that we need to compete with one another. So your average woman has insecurity woven into her and subconsciously wonders if that other woman is better than her in some way and why she feels like she can't measure up. But remember, men didn't do this to us. Women did this to one another. And no, you aren't allowed to be thin. God help you if you are thin, because other women don't want you to be. It's alt-right now to care about your health and working out. So remember, you need to be overweight and you need to love it. You're looked at as abhorrent if you don't yank men around and play with their hearts. God forbid you care about children or men's rights. Nobody ever reaches out to anyone else anymore to try to legitimately help because everyone is drowning. I'm just so tired of watching myself and other women tie themselves into knots just so other women will have esteem for them. Just so they can try to stay afloat in a world that used to be so much friendlier, set up to support your average woman to help her thrive. It's all gone now. And what's left are deprived, bitter women looking for someone else to blame. When really, most women asked for exactly this for all of us and don't even realize it. See, it was easy to write something better and rooted in actual reality. What you guys need to realize is that none of these people, these writers or actors, live how normal people live. Don't let them tell you what to think or feel. That's what got us into this mess in the first place. Feminists got exactly what they wanted, and they're still not happy. I'm Regina Lux with Veritas on the Rocks. I admit the truth and boldly go.